Welcome, Mary. Thanks for being here.
Hello. Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Mary. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, welcome in. I see we have some folks that are starting to join us. Welcome, everybody. We'll get started in about 3 minutes. Hi, everybody. I see a few more people have joined. Welcome. Thank you for being here today. We'll be starting in 2 minutes. Hi, welcome in, John, Renee, Ivy.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes, Renee. Just a few more. Actually, just another minute until we get started. Welcome, Jose. Buenas tardes. John, thank you. I see you in the chat. We will mark you present.
Buenas tardes, María. Buenas tardes a todos.
Hi, Michael. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, all. Hi, Maddie.
All right, so we are at time. It is 5:30, and I see we have folks who are joining us. So we'll go ahead and get started with tonight's meeting. So again, welcome everybody. Welcome back. I know it's been a little while since we've all reconvened, so it's good to be here in the space with everybody. Today is Wednesday, September 11th, 2024, and we're back for the Centro, Heber, Calexico Corridor Monthly AB 617 Community Steering Committee meeting. Jared and I are excited to be here with you all, and we'll be facilitating today's meeting. We'll also be available for any tech support. So if anything comes up for you as you're experiencing the meeting today, feel free to send Jared and I a message on Zoom, and we'll work with you to resolve any kind of tech issues that are coming up. We'll also be guiding today's conversation in collaboration with the Air District, who is joining us today as well. CCV will be absent today, but we are good to go per our charter to have one of our co-chairs available with us tonight. We can link the charter in the chat if anyone would like to take a moment to review. But before we continue with our housekeeping items, I'd quickly like to welcome in Carlos, who will be providing some of our interpretation instructions for tonight. Welcome, Carlos.
Hi, good afternoon. We'll begin with instructions in Spanish and I'll be back with the instructions in English. Buenas tardes, como es costumbre, se está ofreciendo interpretación simultánea para esta reunión. Para aprovechar el servicio, solo es necesario que se desplace a la barra de controles de Zoom, donde verá un icono de interpretación, parece un globito terráqueo, y simplemente le da clic y selecciona español como su idioma. Ahora bien, si está en un dispositivo móvil como tableta o celular o por algún otro motivo no ve el icono, simplemente presione los 3 puntos suspensivos, más, luego interpretación y luego su idioma. Once again, interpretation is being provided to and from English for this meeting. For all of our monolingual English speakers, we invite you to take advantage of this feature as there may be comments and or questions in Spanish. To do so, please scroll down to the bottom of your Zoom screen where the meeting controls are. There you will find an interpretation icon. It looks like a little world. You simply click on that and select English as your language. Now, if you are joining through a mobile device, such as a tablet or a cell phone, you may not see the interpretation icon, in which case just press on the 3 dots, more, then interpretation, and then choose English as your language. Gracias and thank you. Back to you, Maddie.
Thank you so much, Carlos, for those instructions. Alrighty, so our next housekeeping item that I'll transition us to is just information regarding recording consent and access to the live streams. So we just want folks to be aware, and yes, Sergio, actually before I continue, I do want to acknowledge your comment to have a moment of silence for 9/11. So we'll take some time, we'll take about 30 seconds or so, if that's okay with everybody, just to commemorate and acknowledge the day and what that has represented for so many people. So let's take our moment now.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for participating, and thank you, Sergio, for reeling back into the realities of things. And so appreciate everybody for participating there. So to continue with the access to the live stream information for everybody, we just want everyone to be aware that the meeting is being recorded, and by participating in tonight's meeting, you authorize the recording of audio and visual content presented during the live event and consent to subsequent use of the recording in the public domain. Unlike other months that we've joined and shared this live stream via Facebook, this time we will be live streaming via YouTube. And so that will be available on YouTube, which we can link everybody to, and that will also be linked on our Facebook page and the Facebook page of the Air District. So there's a couple of different places that you can access the live stream on YouTube. That said, I think once that's good to go, if there's any questions about accessing it, please let us know in the chat. But thanks in general for your patience as we integrated a new process to live stream. Next up on our docket will be our roll call item. And so to support attendance, we quickly like to do a roll call just to ensure we're tracking attendance. We'll be tracking attendance on the Google form that we'll link below. Please feel free to enter your name or review to ensure that we've tracked your attendance accurately. And so as usual, we'll call out your name aloud. Please unmute yourself and say here when your name is called. Jared, take it away with the roll call.
Tomas Oliva. Sergio Cabañas.
Here.
Thank you. Renee Felix.
Presente.
Thank you. Michael Moore.
Here.
Thank you. Mary Salazar.
Present.
Thank you. Melissa Sandoval.
Present.
Thank you. John Hernandez.
We got his in the chat, so I think we're.
Awesome. Thank you. Paulo Alvarado. Jose Lenderos.
Here.
Thank you. Daniela Flores.
It's for control district.
Ricardo Romero. David Aguirre.
Here.
Thank you. And Gustavo Gomez.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jared. Yes, thank you, everybody. We have 8 folks present and we have reached quorum. So thank you, everybody participating with the roll call. And I'm happy to transition us into the next housekeeping item, which will be the engagement with today's meeting materials and with agenda topics. So the CSC members received an electronic copy of the agenda packet via email last Wednesday, and then we'll also be sharing the agenda packet on our screen. If you'd like to access the agenda packet electronically, please visit the AB61 website. We'll link that in the chat below, so you're more than welcome to follow along on your own. And today's meeting will include our public comment period, approval of the July meeting minutes, and 2 presentations. The first presentation is from us on the SERP survey findings, and the second will be a SERP project summary update presented by the Air District. Each presentation will include a Q&A session, so we really welcome folks to bring forth your questions, comments, and any recommendations based on what you're seeing and experiencing in the corridor. We also have space for our standing items, which include agency updates, any proposed agenda items, open discussion, and closing remarks. As a reminder to our CSC members, you're more than welcome to table items or reprioritize as you all see best. And so just with our desire, we try to kind of keep things on track with time. You'll see Jared and I providing timekeeping warnings to presenters or just in general via chat, and that'll look like something like you have 5 minutes left, or we might step in just to continue keeping the meeting moving. And the goal with that is just to ensure that we have enough space for everybody who wishes to speak, and ensuring that they have the opportunity to do so. And so with that, we thank everybody for your participation and understanding as we continue this engagement together. And so before transitioning to the open remarks, we just wanted to check in if there were any questions. If you have any questions, please let us know by using the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen, or let us know in the chat. Any questions? I don't see any hands coming up, and I don't see anything in the chat. So we'll continue, but please, as we move forward, feel free to share your questions in the chat, and then we'll have Q&A sessions after each presentation. Alrighty, so at this time, I'd like to welcome in the Air District and pass it off to them for tonight's opening remarks.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us in this CSC meeting. Welcome. I do want to acknowledge. I mean, we did go through a little 30-second moment of silence for in memory of those who lost their lives in 9/11. For those of us who are a little bit more on the experience side, I think we will all remember or keep in our minds where we were during that day when we heard about that news. So thank you, Sergio, for kind of for bringing up the moment of silence. I do want to also kind of to keep going on the meeting. As far as I do want to take the time to thank the CSC members that joined us in the medals groundbreaking ceremony this past Wednesday, September 4th. I think we had a really good turnout, and I'm looking forward to any future. Obviously, I think it's something that we want to replicate for any future projects that the CSC has approved. So we will be looking forward to having more groundbreaking ceremonies. At this time, I think that'll be it. I just want to reiterate, thank you very much for taking the time to participate in the CSC meeting.
Thanks so much, Israel. And I'd also like to open it up to the CSC members and see if there are any opening remarks.
Yeah, this is Sergio Cabañas. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Sergio.
I want to thank Mary Salazar for such an emotional message that she delivered the day we had the groundbreaking ceremony at Meadows School. It was an honor and a pleasure to be there and see a lot of familiar faces. But to hear Mary talk about what AB 617 means and for her, Mary, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm getting emotional now. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it so much, my fellow committee members. I did want to mention that I got a lot of comments and people now getting aware of how serious our problem is and how I'm dedicated for life. Like I said, as long as AB continues to accept me on board, I'm willing to be their biggest advocate, like I stated. And in doing so, by experience, I was in Calexico. I had to pick up a couple of little girls, daughters of a friend of mine, and going to the Jefferson School. I was totally shocked to see and witness and breathe the fumes from vehicles. Since I had to go into the office, I could not sit and wait in the caravan knowing what I am participating with this AB 617. So I parked my car 2 blocks away to be able to walk because of the amounts of vehicles that were surrounding the school of Jefferson. I walked into the office and I had to still pick up one more child that was in kindergarten. And I would love for someone to please, I request that a committee member or our staff that can go out and see what I'm talking about. They have, like, you know how you go to the stores and you have valet parking where you just stay in your car and you run your car and you keep running the motor and you just wait for your child to come into your vehicle. And then they have a big old fan or I forget what they call them, coolers, directly coming from the fumes directly into the children sitting outside with the fumes directly being them breathing this air accelerated by the fumes of the vehicles. I had to stand there and I could smell it. I almost passed out just in breathing the heat and the emissions. And then they had the fan directly into the children, the kindergartens, sitting there waiting and breathing this air, this bad air. I mean, it was just I was just shocked. I told the mother, and she wants to participate. She wants to do something. We just don't know how to get started. Where do we proceed to alert that this is going to be killing at some point in the future, these young babies, I mean, to me, they're 5 years old. I mean, they're small and they have no idea. And I'm walking and I could smell the fumes. I don't even know how they can substantiate that's going on. I don't even know where to proceed. I just need your help, and hopefully my committee members will back me up on this. And this is one school that just happened by accident to have to walk through it, and they said, "Oh no, Mary." And then I asked another friend that has a child there at school, and she says, "No, I'm not dumb. I wait 10-15 minutes till everybody's gone, and then they have to wait for me in school, and I go pick them up because of what is going on." So some people are aware and some people are not aware of this. So I just wanted to somehow follow up, tell us what we need to do. Do I need to send letters to the school district? Please help me with this. Thank you so much.
Mary, I think I could kind of jump in here. I know one of the strategies there, one of the, that was actually part of the SERP when it was when it was drafted, is that that you as a CSC committee, or as a member of a committee, I mean, as a committee, you can get together and draft up letters and send them, especially where you see that there's an issue. I mean, you as a committee have the ability to draft up a letter and probably send it to the school or even to the school board. Obviously, it would be a letter coming from the committee. So that's one thing that comes to mind. I don't know if other CSC members might be inclined to do something like that.
I like that. And how about some of the parents that know that this is going on and they don't even know where to start, how to proceed? I mean, is there something by the parents having to send letters also, or just our letter with or they need to call AB 617 so that you can add their names to this letter, or how will we start this? That's what I would like to know.
Can I make a comment?
Go for it, John.
Yeah, Mary, I think that this is an issue that in some form of a formal complaint to the air district for them to look into it would be appropriate.
Thanks, John. It sounds like this might be.
I agree, John. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And it sounds like that might be an action item, just to take note for the air district. And I was wondering, Mary, if you could just repeat the school's name that you had that experience in.
It was the Jefferson School.
Okay, got it, as the Jefferson.
Calexico.
In Calexico, got it. Thank
Yes,
you.
and they start parking about 1:30, and like I said, they start picking up children at 1:45. So I would say for a good half hour to an hour, they're out there, just like I said, lined up like valet parking. You know, they don't even get off their cars. They're all just sitting in their cars with all the engines running and just the emissions out there. And like I said, I don't even know how they don't even know what they're doing to these children. You know, I just was just in complete shock. So I'm hoping we can address this as soon as possible. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much, John, that's a great idea.
And we've made note of the schools too. So tomorrow I'll talk to our division manager for enforcement and see what we'll send someone out there and make sure that we take a look at that. Okay. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, at this time, I think I'd like to transition us now into our public comment period. Thank you again to Israel, Sergio, Mary, and John for participating in the opening remarks. And at this time, I would like to open it up and just see if anyone has a public comment. So during this time, meeting attendees may address the committee, district, and leads with any public public comments or questions. Members of the public who are joining us on YouTube are also encouraged to submit any comments. And then as we receive comments via the chat or via YouTube, we'll be sure to read those aloud. And we have this space because we really want to make sure that community engagement is at the forefront of these meetings. And so to encourage this public comment period, you may share any written comments on our YouTube platform or via the Zoom chat. And then you, of course, more than welcome to share verbal comments. And so we'll be monitoring comments as they come through. And with that said, we have about a 2-minute max on our public comment period. And I know that that's less than ideal, but that's really with the goal to ensure that if there's multiple public comments that are coming through at this time, everyone has the same space to do so. So with that, we'll start with public comments from those who are logged on, and then we'll go to YouTube. So are there any public comments from folks who are joining us via Zoom? Mary, just want to double check. I see your hand is still raised. Did you have a public comment as well?
No, I'm sorry. I'll lower it right now.
No worries. Thank you. Right here on Zoom, I'm not seeing any hands. Mary, I see your hand is raised, but I know that you were just lowering it. So okay, cool. Didn't want to miss anything. Okay, and then Jared, by chance, do you see any comments coming through on Zoom? Or I'm sorry, on YouTube?
No comments from me on YouTube.
Okay. Well, I think that concludes our public comment period. Thank you, everybody. And so moving on to our next item, which is the approval of the minutes. At this time, the CSC is being asked to vote for the approval of the meeting minutes for the CSC meeting held on Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. In your agenda packet, you will find the minutes for the July meeting for your review. With that said, we'd love to see if the CSC would like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Yes, this is Michael Moore, and I would like to submit a approval of minutes for the July 10th meeting as they are written.
Second.
Thank you, Michael and Sergio. I just wanted to make this space. The floor is open for discussion. If there's no discussion, we can transition to a vote. I don't see any hands or anything coming up in the chat for discussion, so we can transition to the vote. And so as we implemented in the past for our meeting minutes, we'll do a yay and nay procedure. All in favor of the motion to approve the July 10th meeting minutes, please say yay at this time.
Yay.
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 Yay. That's good.
Thank you, everybody. If anybody is opposed, please say nay at this time. Thank you, Renee. I see your comment in the chat. Okay, so the motion passes for the approval of the July 10th meeting minutes. Thank you, everybody, for participating. And with that, I'd like to transition us to our first presentation, which is an update on the SERP survey results, where our team will share the findings. And after we share the findings, we'll open it up to you all to share your reflections, your questions, suggestions, and next steps. Just wanted to check in quickly with the Air District if there's any context you wanted to share before we dive in.
Hey, Maddie, no, it's just pretty much, I mean, I guess you're going to be going over the 2024 SERP strategy survey results.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's from, that was like a request that was done in the last meeting to open up the survey to have more participation from the community. So thank you very much. You could go ahead.
Sorry, it took me a moment to unmute there. Thank you, Israel, for the context. And that's right. We're looking forward to sharing this data with everybody. And with that, I'm happy to pass it off to my colleague, Jared.
Yes, hello everyone. Good to see everyone. Yeah, just to give some context, so we previously did a SERP survey a couple months ago with the CSC members via Zoom. And through that dialogue, it was recommended that we do a bigger survey to get some broader feedback from the community. And so these are the results from that survey, which we will share out today. So when looking and just like engaging some of these key findings, we're going to do a little SERP strategy refresh. What are the strategies that are submitted to CARB? We're going to talk about who completed the survey. Does this feel representative of the communities that you all live and work in? We're going to go through the key findings of the survey, which we had 35 responses that combined English and Spanish responses. And then Maddie's going to walk through some reflections and some recommendations of how we can use this data to inform next steps and strategies. So in general, as we kind of have discussed in previous meetings, these are the SERP strategies that are included in the survey. And so is air filtration, standalone air filters in households, install marquees, bus replacements, EV school bus infrastructure, community identified projects such as air duct cleaning, air justice at schools, drone shows instead of fireworks or residential EV charging infrastructures, local agency partnerships, dial-a-ride, community greening and vegetation barriers, emergency diesel generator replacement, paving, sidewalk, and bike path projects, and alternative to agriculture open burning. And yes, I see your hand up, Carlos.
Carlos,
Oh,
we...
thank you. Yes, I will slow down. Yes, sorry for talking a little bit fast. Let me take any time, feel free to tell me to pause. But yes, thank you, Carlos. So we got some information about who completed the survey. And so for some context, we really wanted to prioritize folks that lived and worked in the corridor. And so that was one of the first questions that was on the survey. And so we saw that most folks lived in El Centro, Heber, or Calexico, with 57% in El Centro, 26% in Calexico, and 17% coming from Heber. And so some additional information that we wanted to get from the survey was to parse out who taking the survey was a part of the CSC and who maybe were just part of the broader community. And so out of this survey results, about 17% were CSC members, and the remainder 83% were larger community members. And so for the first question that was on the survey, we asked folks to rank what their first priority would be for the SERP strategies. And so out of this question, we had 35 responses. And for the top response, 31% ranked paving, sidewalk, and bike path projects as their #1 priority. The following two were EV school bus infrastructure and community greening and vegetation barriers. I'll pause just to see, to kind of see how the rest of those rankings fell. We had the air filters in households at 9%, air filtration, community identified projects, local agencies, alternative to agriculture burning, and other were all ranked at 6%, and school bus replacement was ranked at 3%. But just for context, again, this was just asking folks to rank which their first priority, first choice would be. We also had some open-ended responses where folks were able to give some input on other reported priorities that weren't included in the SERP. Some folks said stop paving land, use crushed rock, minimal environmental pollution when compared with asphalt so that the water could filter back into the water table. And that was reflected in the survey for about 3 additional times. Some other folks that bring more awareness and education on air quality control. And other folks said stop spreading pesticides to our community. For the second question, we asked folks to rank their second priority. And for this question, we had about 34 responses. Similarly to the previous one, paving, sidewalk, and bike path projects was ranked the highest for people's second priority, ranking at 21%. Followed by that, community identified projects was ranked with 15%. Community greening and vegetation barriers were ranked at 12%. Air filters, school bus replacements, and alternative to agriculture were ranked at 9%. Air filtration in the community and community identified projects such as drone shows were ranked at 6%. And the last few, such as installing the marquee to show AQI, EV school bus infrastructure, local agency partnerships, emergency diesel generator replacement, and other were all ranked at 3%. And so again, this was just asking folks what their second priority would be. And again, for some of the others that were not included as SERP strategies, the idea of alternatives to asphalt paving came up again as a response, as well as feedlot emissions reductions came up as another alternative, as an open-ended response. And so for our last question, we asked folks to rank what their third priority would be. And we had 34 responses to that question. And so tied kind of as people's third response came up as local agency partnerships and community greening and vegetation barriers, both ranking at 15%. So tied for folks' third. Air filtration in the community and alternative to agriculture open burning was ranked both at 12%. Standalone air filters in households and bus and EV school bus infrastructure were both percent. School bus replacement and paving were ranked at 6%. And then community identified projects such as residential air ducts, air justice at schools, and additionally dial-a-ride vehicle replacement, emergency diesel generator replacement, and others were all ranked at 3%. And again, this was folks ranking what their third strategy would have been. So other priorities that were not included in the SERP that folks suggested was again this alternative to asphalt and paving. And then I think some concern around aerial pesticide spraying. So we also had some recommendations for alternative community projects, which we got some feedback on. 12 folks gave some open-ended feedback that if you look into the agenda packet, or we can talk through some of these, but some folks suggested active transportation projects, inclusion of trees and green space. Some other folks said include community gardens with the urban greening strategy, install air filters at all schools. Another person said all of your projects are great, so do not take this as negative. I would like to see the garbage trucks stop dropping oil on the streets and their emissions, which they produce, be reduced. More tree planting as well. Some additional recommendations were things such as cleaning downtown Calexico, to be more specific, cleaning the alleys. And another interesting one was something as collaborating with the asthma specialists, medical providers, as well as any environmental protection agencies in the area. Some more additional comments that were shared by the community. So to summarize some of these findings, when we did the temperature check survey back in June, some of the top priorities that emerged were community greening and vegetative barriers, alternatives to agriculture open burning, and community identified projects. And now that we were able to survey a little bit more, from the August SERP online survey, some of the priorities that emerged were things such as paving, sidewalk, and bike path projects, which was a tie on multiple priorities. Local agency partnerships, and then community greening and vegetative barriers, which was a tie across multiple priorities. So I'm going to pass it to Maddie to facilitate, but I think some questions, which we can also put in the chat. It's just, we want to get some insight. Do you agree that these priorities will lead to a cleaner air and will be prioritized? And what are your recommended next steps for the air district or for the CSC as a whole? And I will also pause to see if there's any questions, any comments, and pass it back to Maddie.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jared, for presenting the findings. And so this period that we have reserved for everyone at this point is just to hear if you have any questions, any reflections. Does this data feel representative to you? Does this feel like it represents what you're seeing in your community? And then as well, we invite you all to answer these questions as well. Do you agree that these priorities will lead to cleaner air and will be prioritized? And then, to add some action behind these findings, if we feel ready for it, we'd love to hear about what kind of next steps that you'd recommend for the Air District to take on. So the floor is open. Are there any questions from the CSC? Yes, Mary, go for it.
Excuse me. Regarding some of these questions, I had asked the staff to provide me with the items that were that we helped out with, say, paving for the school district. And I believe we did some alleys in Calexico. I had requested that if you could send me data, and what I didn't get was, or receive on this data, was the dates of when these projects were completed. Only the monies were given. So how can we, like when you say the priorities that we have for cleaner air, there's no dates, say 2022, 23, or 24, when these funds were given to, say, City of Calexico or the school district. When did they receive their monies? When was it completed? And any pictures following up of the work being completed, so that we can have a little more understanding as to when these projects are funded completed, and then the proof of the work that was done, say, follow up by pictures, or, I mean, how else do we know how we keep track of all these improvements?
Yeah, thank you so much for your question, Mary. I hear you. It sounds like there's definitely a need for more details and more information in what has been completed in the past. And so I see that the Air District is unmuted, and if there's any context you'd like to add to Mary's question.
Yes, I can go ahead and add some context to that. I know that the alleyways that are being paved or have a Class 2 base for the city of Calexico, that's under a tag grant with DPA. So it's those are funds that are not associated with AB 617. But I do know that as far as what has been given to the city, that project was under its 3 phases. So they have completed phase 1, and with any other projects that we fund or it's part of a grant, we do have to the process for the process is that we go do a pre-inspection. And then we also do a post-inspection. We go out there, make sure that we see that the project was completed. We take pictures, and once that's completed, that we have enough evidence that everything was done. That's when we actually do pay out the funds. So I know at least the alleyway project, they still have 2 phases to complete. As far as like paving projects to the city of Calexico under AB 617, they do not have any projects under AB 617. I know there's been a couple of school projects that have not paving project, but there's a couple of projects that have been given to the school district. And it's the same process that we go through. We have to go out there and do a pre-inspection, make sure that it's something that's being used, make sure it's no work has started, and once it's been completed, we go out there and do a post-inspection, verify that the work has completed, and not till then that we would actually be able to pay out those funds.
Thank you, Israel. Mary, I see you're muted.
Yes, I just wanted to confirm, will you be able to add in the dates on these approvals? And then when it's completed and funded completely and inspected, could you provide those dates instead of just saying the type of work that you're going to be funding, so that we have actual dates so that we can keep track of it?
Yes, I know. Later today we're going to be also going through kind of like a project status, and if that's something that you or anyone would like to add to those slides, I mean, we'll be happy to add those dates.
Yeah, and just to come off of what you shared, Israel, if there's something that would have been helpful to see, like you mentioned, Mary, like those additional details to provide that context as you're going through the CERT measures, we're open to that feedback, especially as we continue to look at the findings. There's opportunities to expand the survey continuously. You know, it's a live kind of document, so to speak. So you know, we're open to all of that as well. So I appreciate you, Mary, for naming the need for those details. Thank you. Are there any other questions about the survey findings or any reflections that folks would like to bring forward? Yes, Michael, go for it.
Yes, I just wanted to throw out to the committee, if there was any outreach to news organizations that might be able to kind of compile or, use for the community's update, some of the things that the 617 funding has brought to the cities and things like that. So I know there's kind of, several entities, mm, Calexico Chronicle, Imperial Valley Press, the Yuma news stations and stuff. And I didn't know if we, had anybody that had any dialogue or any type of connections with these people, reaching this, what is it now? Our 6th year of existence here at the end of 2024 might be a nice time or might be attractive to them to get something published and get more awareness kind of out into the community. So again, it's does anybody have any connections, or is there something that we could get a head start with something like that?
Yes, Michael, I know like at least and like the special events, I know we do coordinate with our county public information officer, and we have at least like in this last case for the Meadows groundbreaking, there was a media release that release goes to pretty much a lot of the media companies in the valley, and that's something that we've started to do, and that's so that we get more exposure to the community as far as what 617 is. And I think that was one of the reasons why there was a nice turnout at the event. I'm not too sure if Michael, your comment kind of goes to kind of like in that regards, or kind of like it's referenced back to the actual survey, like if it was out there in, I guess, in the local media.
Yeah, it's awareness, kind of compiling, the good things that the 617 funding has brought to the different cities in the corridor, and just kind of making people aware of it. I think that one of the things that might be something that will be gained is maybe more people come forward with the abilities to do some of these other things that we have kind of in the pipeline, like the urban greening and stuff like that, that we maybe don't have as much as we do with the paving and other types of improvements.
I think it's something, like I said, as far as what we've done on these past cases, I think going forward, we've been seeing that it does have a good turnout. So we'll going forward, we'll keep doing that same what we're doing, and trying to make sure that we at least know all the media companies out there. I know Rene has hand raised.
Yes, I do just want to take one moment to clarify a portion of Michael's question, if that's okay. Michael, were you also kind of looking for some connection from the CSC members as well?
Well, yeah, I was throwing it out to everybody, obviously Israel's feedback that, their county public information officer does do kind of that updating and kind of connection and stuff like that. That I was kind of looking for somebody to kind of step in those shoes maybe and be able to get the information shared.
Sounds good, Michael. Thank you. I didn't want to miss a portion of your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Maddie.
Yes. Sounds good. Okay. So, Renee, I see your hand is raised.
Continuando con la propuesta del señor Moore, pongo a la disposición del comité y del Departamento de Calidad del Aire a la estación de radio que sin ningún costo pudiese difundir información. Es la 98.3. Ellos tienen un noticiero diario bilingüe y tiene una penetración muy importante en ambos valles, Mexicali y el Valle Imperial. Entonces, con mucho gusto yo puedo proveer el número, la persona nos darían los espacios necesarios cada vez que se soliciten para difundir lo que se hace, para difundir eventos, etcétera. Entonces, Israel, con mucho gusto, estoy a la orden con esa posibilidad.
And Renee, I will take your word for it. So I will ask for that help. I mean, I think the more we have the more we get the news out, the better. And I know we've been working with the CSC and I mean, the more the merrier. So I'll be sending you an email tomorrow so that we could get that number. I know a lot of the events that we do have the English and Spanish version. So it would be it would be very good for us to have a little bit more say in the Spanish media too. So thank you very much, Rene.
Thank you, Rene. And if Rene, you have any websites or contacts, we would love to encourage you to share them in the chat as well.
De acuerdo, aquí estaré pendiente, Israel, para compartir la información y le repito, esto es de parte de ellos de manera voluntaria. Anteriormente ya me han ofrecido esa posibilidad.
Thank you, Renee. And I see we've had a few more folks join us, so welcome in. We're currently getting reflections, questions, and discussion around the SERP survey. And so we're asking the CSC if they have any questions or any feedback.
Hi everybody. I'm gonna jump in here. I thought my hand was up, but I think when I got switched over, it was lowered. But good evening. I joined after the presentation, but I did take a look at the packet that was sent over. I guess I'm missing some context, but so let me know if this was already answered or discussed. But are we going to, just like we're talking about media and other outlets to enhance awareness about what the work of the AB 617 projects have brought? But, I'm pretty concerned with the fact that the timeline was just really brief, really quick in terms of the survey being opened. I don't know that our experience as a community-based organization is entirely understood by government agencies, but and I mean, I see the body language and I hope it's fine that I'm saying this, but it wasn't enough time. We didn't even get tagged to try to more easily share on social media, anything like that. Those, I'm not sure that you all even considered the kind of timeline that we needed. So, I feel like a lot of decisions just get made, even though we do say that 35 people in a county of 180,000 does not give me confidence for us to move forward with that finding. So, statistics shows that 30 is the bare minimum to try to generalize a kind of statistical finding. So I don't think that this is enough information for us to be responsible in representing community. And so, I mean, I'm not sure, I'm reading body language. I'm not sure if that's about my comments or whatnot, but there it is.
Yeah, thank you so much, Daniela. I appreciate your feedback. I think one thing that I will add is something that we mentioned right before you joined, and so I'm happy to share it again, which is we're open to keeping this survey open longer. I know that there are other elements, as you mentioned, the timeline, as well as ensuring that there was enough like tagging and ensuring people knew that they can spread this to their networks and communities that are part of this too. But in terms of keeping the survey open to ensure that we can get more responses that feel more representative to what you're seeing is definitely a possibility.
Can we use those same methods that we're talking about? Like, can we use the public information officer? Can it get posted in the County of Imperial website? I've seen the air quality, I've seen the APCD use the billboards by the mall to advertise their air quality. Can we put a short link on there and a QR code for people to take the survey? So like, if there's funds in the budget to raise awareness in terms of what we've done, it's equally important to put that kind of money behind getting input.
And good afternoon, Daniela. And I mean, as far as like the time for the survey, I think now I wasn't present in the last meeting, but from what I hear, it's pretty much that. I mean, the CC wanted to get it out there and wanted to have results, I believe, for this meeting. But I mean, we as a district, I mean, we're open to the CSC's input. I mean, if the CSC wants to extend the survey and maybe get a little bit more media or look for other ways that we could have a little bit more participation from the community. We're open to that. So, I mean, obviously, it's I mean, it's the CSC's ultimate decision. So.
What do our colleagues in the CSC think? Do you think that's like a reasonable ask? And, you know, for a lot of this, you know, I don't know what outreach plan we operate under. But I think it's worth some awareness around what the outreach plans are, besides, one post on, is it multiple posts? Is it going on, regularly, that kind of thing. I think it will help. My experience has been that people are usually very willing as long as you make it accessible and that you give people a good amount of time to participate.
Thank you, Daniela. We've been taking notes on everybody's feedback as we continue refining the survey and making sure it feels representative. So really do appreciate the input that you're sharing with us. Mary, I also see that your hand is raised.
Yes, I just wanted to share and agree with Daniela. As you know, from the get-go, beginning of these meetings, I've always stated that we don't have visibility. Most of the community members don't even know we exist. No one is trying to even work out, safety plans, breathing, preventions for children in their schools. All they do is receive their monies, but yet I don't see any participation on their end as to what they're doing to help our community. So yes, I've been crying out for this for years, and Daniela knows this already, that I totally agree with her that we have to get out there, be voiced. I think I mentioned maybe TV, news every day about, our air quality, which is there. It's a quick 10 seconds of it, and that's it. But other than that, I think we need more. We need more outreach, more awareness, and definitely more community participations, especially the schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. As we're taking notes on our end, we are definitely hearing the general outreach need, as Mary, you've mentioned, has come up in prior meetings We're also hearing the need to just kind of share like who is receiving the survey and having a plan for that as well in this next round. Curious to hear from other folks at the CSC, what else is coming up for you regarding the survey?
Hey, Maddie, I just want to jump in and let everybody know that the schools and the cities were involved with the survey. The survey was sent out to both entities, and it was sent out to our subscriber list of about 300 subscribers. And we also went in person and posted flyers in public libraries and post office and other type of public areas like that in Calexico, Heber, and El Centro. And this was also released on the radio on KXO.
Thank you, Adriana, for the additional outreach methods that were employed for the survey. I see Daniela also has her hand up.
Are we allowed to recommend funds from AB 617 to be used to hire a promotora or promotorex for the outreach that needs to be done with this AB 617 committee? If y'all sent it to hundreds of people and only got 32 responses, then it looks like we need a more active approach to outreach. So I know we're not voting here, but I would like to formally request that we take a look at the current outreach plan, whatever outreach plan exists for the AB 617 activities. And that will probably give us a better sense for probably a need for a promotorex on the ground to really get this engagement going. Because it sounds like some of our passive outreach is not generating as much engagement.
Thank you, Daniela. Definitely taking that note as an action item to come back and share an outreach plan for the AB 617 activities. Just curious to hear if there are other thoughts on that as well.
The only other thoughts, I mean, I know that in a lot of these events that we do have, I mean, we always do ask, I mean, not only the community's participation, but also the CSC members' participation. That's why I started this meeting with thanking the members that showed up to the medals groundbreaking ceremony. I know, I mean, that's that's important. It's important to be there, to show up, and yeah, I mean, we'll as an action item, we'll take a look at, see how we're looking or what we're doing to get the word out, and if there is ways that we can improve that, I mean, we're open to that too. So, okay.
Yeah, thank you, Israel. And I'm not sure if that, like, just to kind of let you all know, my participation in this committee, as you all know, in the ways that I show up, unfortunately, air quality in my EJ work is not at the top, right? And so while obviously I'm super committed to it, I show up here in the ways that I can, but yes, it's awareness, but from my perspective, it's like the picture, right? And that's kind of what ends up circulating the community. And I personally don't really have time for what I would consider more like photo op opportunities. Like I'm happy to kind of use my time in other ways. I personally don't necessarily have time to show up in those ways, but I appreciate those folks that do have time to show up in those ways.
Thank you, Daniela, for speaking up. Curious to hear if there's additional thoughts from the CSC that they'd like to share at this time. I think I'll open it up now to the members of the community who are joining us tonight. If you have a question, comment, reflection that you'd like to share, please feel free to use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen and we'll call on you in the order that it comes in. Any questions from members of the community? Okay. Not seeing anything, no hands raised. The chat is also a place where you can share any questions. And Jared, just curious to see if there's anything coming through YouTube.
No comments coming in from YouTube.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. We truly do appreciate your feedback regarding the survey. And as I've mentioned before, this can be expanded with all of your feedback in mind to ensure that ultimately the sample that we receive this information from is representative and that you all can feel confident with what is lifted up as priorities. Anything I'm missing, folks at their district? Anything you wanted to add before we transition?
Maddie, I'd just like to, just kind of to get a little direction as far as going forward with the survey. I think it would be a good idea to extend that survey. Hopefully yeah. So I just want to get the kind of like a little consensus on from the CSC members if that's what if that's what they think is good. We could work on that.
Yeah, that sounds great, Israel. Definitely we can get consensus. I'm wondering if we can do our yay and nay voting procedure. That way we can identify if anybody opposes and discuss.
I don't think I would want to do that procedure because then it's an actual vote and then so if anyone can just open their unmute themselves and kind of that we could hear their thoughts.
Okay, that works. So at this time, I'd love to open it back up to the CSC members to see if updating and extending the survey feels like a good next step. If it doesn't, also feel free to share that as well. Is there any opposition to extending the survey? Okay. So I didn't see any hands raised from the CSC members, nor did anything come through. I do see in the chat from Rene an agreement to keep it open. So I think that's our next step, which is to keep the survey open with the feedback that everybody has shared. So really do appreciate this discussion. Okay. So with that said, oh, yes, Michael, I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, I was just going to say, did we want to put a target number on the participation from the community as kind of the defining line or the finish line, I should say, for the survey to kind of use the volume of participation as saying, okay, now we've got 500 participants or whatever. Now the survey can be closed or something along those lines. Rather than time, we're out for volume of participation.
Thank you, Michael. Is there a number, a goal that we'd like to reach to feel confident with our survey responses? Is that what you were asking, Michael? Just to be totally sure.
Yeah, statistically speaking, like Daniela said, there's X amount of Imperial County people. So in the 3 communities that make up the corridor, this is the number of people there. Should we shoot for a certain percentage of that and say that's our target?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Curious to hear what kind of target would feel right for folks.
Yeah, it's kind of statistics based, I guess, is what I'm kind of proposing. And I'm not a statistician, so I don't know what a good target number would be.
It will be hard to do this statistically because we don't really have any we're not asking for demographics, right, in the survey. So it's kind of really hard to know when we've hit like some demographic representation. I don't know if others have thoughts. I don't think we've ever gotten more than like 40 responses in any given survey total. From residents, right? And so, because this is or maybe we have, but let me know. I think because this is potentially, while all of us learn from our community every day and we bring that insight into these meetings, I think there hasn't really been an effort to really provide some education to the community around these these initiatives. I personally had some feedback around the survey to try to make that a little bit more clear, but I think I won't go into like changing the survey because we already have a lot of responses. So I really do think that this is one of the only times that we've ever asked people through a survey and like really aimed for a larger response. So I would like to hear from others like what you would feel comfortable. I know that it would be good to, like you said, Michael, have targets per town, per city, and recognizing that Centro and Calexico are bigger. They might we might want a bigger representation from those two towns, but before I share my thoughts, because I feel like I joined and I have not stopped talking, so I want to see if others have other thoughts and recommendations.
Mary, go for it.
Here's my thoughts, and I'm in total agreement with Daniela, because we've been stressing this out from the very beginning of our committee, and you're right. Even when we're filling out these surveys, and it does. We're all very busy. You're right. I wonder if we can put in some incentives. Say, for example, the school districts that have received their monies, how much involvement or committed have they been? Or in terms of bringing in awareness, they receive the funds, but yet we don't get anything in return from them and we don't require it from them. What if we expect them to have the school district somehow issue to each school district, or say the city council meetings, that we need the staff, just the city of Calexico, for them to be part of receiving, these grants that we are providing to them, that we are requiring them to participate in these surveys, and you don't issue these often enough. So I don't know how many surveys I can remember maybe 2 in this last year that they are required to participate, a percentage of them. And I don't know how else we can do it so that they will participate, just with the city of Calexico, City Hall, the school districts, teachers from each school, or the principals of each school, and that they are required to participate in order to be qualified to receive monies from us, and they don't participate. I mean, I don't know how else we can do it. I mean, I need ideas. So hopefully my committee members can help me out here.
Thank you, Mary, for your comments. And just as a quick time check, I think we can open it up to the CSC to respond, Mary. It sounds like you were looking for some feedback there. So just curious to hear if anybody has any thoughts in relation to what Mary has shared. Yes, Renee, go for it.
Estoy totalmente de acuerdo con lo que comenta la compañera Mari. Considero que pudiésemos iniciar involucrando a esos distritos escolares, a los cuales ya han sido beneficiados, solicitándoles ese apoyo. Un determinado número de encuestas por cada uno de los beneficiarios para tener ese sensor en el corredor. Creo que beneficiarios han sido las tres ciudades. Entonces, considero una buena idea que aún podamos ir a ellos y solicitarles cierto número de encuestas por cada institución, por cada distrito, por cada escuela. En cuanto a, también sí, recuerdo que en los sistemas de filtración de aire también se han beneficiado un muy buen número de escuelas. Entonces, ¿por qué no ir a ellos, a directivos, a trabajadores escolares, a maestros y tocar esa base de datos que la tenemos accesible? Ese es mi comentario.
Renee and Mary, I think it does bring up a good point. I think if the survey is extended, I think we would go that extra step to actually to not just send the emails or send the survey out. So I think it would be we would have a staff go that extra step and actually contact the school administrators to see if they could actually, they are willing to, or they're able to, I guess, send that to the parents or even to their staff so that they would be able to fill out the survey. So I mean, that does bring up a good point.
Thank you, everybody. It definitely sounds like there's some action items and next steps to consider and apply for the SERP survey. And that's really what this space was set up for, was to hear like what you would recommend be the next step to ensure that this feels right for us and the community. So thank you, everybody. I will be transitioning us to our next agenda item. But if there are any questions regarding the SERP survey or any feedback that you have for Jared and myself, we welcome it, and we'll share our contact in the chat, but feel free to reach out to us because we're here for the discussion as well. So with that said, I'm happy to transition us to our next agenda item, which is the AB 617 SERP project summary update. And this will be presented by the Air District. So I'm happy to pass it off to you.
All right, thank you very much, Maddie. Yes, we are bringing this kind of like a project summary update on the projects that have been approved and have been completed. You've seen these slides before. We'll start with Adriana. She'll be starting the presentation.
So the first category that we want to look at here is the school bus replacements. And our first school bus replacement was at Calexico. That was for CAP year 1. And that has been completed for a couple of years now. I know we are also looking at the Heber school buses, which they're on the second slide, but I could go ahead and just give you that update right here, and we can look at the numbers after if you would like.
Well, Maddie, if you want, you could go to the second slide and then we'll come back to this first one.
So the Heber school bus replacements, currently we are working with CARB and our consultant Ramble to complete a project plan for these projects since they're community identified projects. So we're almost to the end to get that CARB approval. And once we have that approval, we will give you all an update and we'll be able to move forward with Heber school buses. I know that they are ready to go themselves and are very excited to receive their new school buses.
And just to add to that, it's on the slides, those are the ones that are under that yellow color highlighted.
highlighted yellow.
Maddie, can we go back to the first page? And in the gray shaded cells, you can see the paving projects. Currently, we have 4 paving projects that have been completed. And also CAP 2-4, which is the Heber Townsite Improvement Phase 1 project that is complete. It is not listed as complete since we are working on the reimbursement process currently right now, but the physical project is complete. And the other projects that are incomplete right now that have a blank on the status, those are the projects that were approved recently in the second round of paving. So as you can see, most of them are school facilities. Calexico did get their fire lane and Kennedy Gardens Elementary School parking lot. We did have a CET student parking lot. Heber's Phase 2 was also approved. And Meadows and Kennedy Junior High were also approved.
Just also just to add to this to the paving projects. I know from the first round of incentive projects that were approved, there's Heber Townsite Improvement, as Adriana mentioned, the actual work is complete. We're in the process of going through the payment in the payment process. So that 1.4 million amount funded, that was their first progress payment. We're actually doing the progress payment for that kind of like the second progress payment, and that was for an additional 1.1 million. So the Public Works Department has mentioned that they will be having a third and final payment for that project, but it's not expected to be in the size of these first 2 payments. So they are expecting that project to come in probably like about 1 or 1.5 million under budget. So that's a good thing, because that'll be added to what we have to that non-allocated amount that we'll be talking about later in the next slides. I guess our next section, for those of you who haven't met Abigail Arballo is our new administrative analyst, and she'll talk about the next set of projects.
Good evening, everyone. So just to continue on with the urban greening projects. So as you can see, we do have a total of 7 urban greening projects, which were approved through AB 617, and 6 of those projects have been completed. 2 with the city of El Centro and 6 for the city of Heber. Now, in regards to the one that we do have in progress for the Heber, the city of Heber, which is the Children's Park Adventure Trail, there is, this one is currently in progress. Our district has been in communication with the Heber's Public Utility District, and the park is currently going through a renovation through a different grant that they were approved through, the state park program. So in communication with them, they did let us know that they did begin breaking ground on March of this year. And so they are currently a couple of weeks away from completing that project. They are scheduled to be complete in late September. And so after that, we will continue making contact so that they can begin with the tree planting in that area. Okay, and then moving forward with the air filtration, this project has been fully completed and funded, as you can tell by the allocated amount and the amount funded. It's a total of 17 schools as part of the air filtration project. So 8 of those schools were from Calexico District, 7 from El Centro, and 2 from Heber District. And the Air District does continue to monitor IQ Air. They do continue to provide us with their quarterly reports to ensure that the air filters are being installed and maintenance is being made.
Okay. pretty much these projects are up to this point. I guess what we've talked about up to this point, it's part of all that all those incentive projects that would kind of we refer to them as the first round of incentive projects. All of them have been completed except for those two, the children's park and the little bit that's left over from that Heber improvement project. So next projects are Adriana's gonna be talking about are the ones that we consider as like the second round of incentive projects that were approved by the CSC late last September and within the last year or so. We could go ahead to the second slide.
So the sections that we are going to be looking at is the orange section at the bottom. So these are the electric vehicle infrastructure projects that we approved last September, which were about, I want to say 9 million in total. So currently these projects are on a progress payment plan. So that's why you see that Meadows has had some funding already paid out. So, and you know, Meadows did have their groundbreaking recently, and I believe they did start construction on Monday. So, all the other schools are really close behind them. Meadows just happens to be the first, and so hopefully we'll be able to see more groundbreaking soon. And obviously, when we do have those, we will let you all know, so you can all join us as well in this. You know, this is these projects are a little bit different from the others.
The other round two projects that were discussed earlier as part of the paving projects, we wanted to keep them as kind of like the same source. So and that was in the first slide, but that was already discussed. I know we can. Before we could go, or we could go to the next slide. And at this point, I guess, is there any questions from the CSC members? I know, Mary, I'm sorry, Maddie, can you go to the the previous slide? So just to kind of go back to Mary's comment before comment as far as like including dates where we do pre-inspections or maybe final inspections and I guess the final day of payment. I mean, is that something you would like to see at this point, or the information that's presented is sufficient? Or any other CSC member that might have a comment, a concern, question?
Thank you, Israel. Just curious to see if there were any questions from the CSC at this point. Not seeing any hands raised or anything.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say that was a great layout and very easily followed. And I think that was kind of the format that we've been shooting for a number of the tracking type of efforts and stuff like that. So good job on the compiling and presentation of it, Israel, for you and your staff there.
I'm glad, Michael, I'm glad you liked this, and thank you for your comment. And I'm also really happy that you said and your staff, because
thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's a team effort.
I know. Yeah, I kind of got stuck there. Yeah, so I guess I made Israel feel important.
Well, thank you very much. But no, it's a team effort. So I mean, like I said, staff has been really important in creating these presentations, or at least the summaries. So I mean, I mean, there's a lot more information that we can add, but we want to have it and present it in a way that it wouldn't be too cumbersome, so it would be easy to follow. I think we'll go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, and this is just kind of like a budget summary as far as like the incentive funds that have been allocated to the South, which is like 25,373,247.11. Out of that, from what we saw the previous two slides, for school bus replacement projects, there's been $1,427,449 associated with the bus replacement, school air filtration projects, around 1.5 million or so. For the paving projects, it's been 11.9, close to $12 million. I mean, from looking at the survey results, I mean, we see that paving project continues to be one of those high priority emission reduction or incentive projects within the community. So that shows. Urban greening projects, 380,000. EV infrastructure projects. Looking at the SERP strategies, I know the SERP strategy, we identified the replacement of at least 5 buses with the electric buses. With the 3 buses from Heber, that would only make it that we would be replacing 4 buses. One thing that this EV infrastructure projects, the approval of the infrastructure projects, it made it possible for the schools to purchase or to transition into EV buses by taking advantage of the HVIP grants. So with that grant did not provide us as a substantial funds for the actual infrastructure. So I think the CSC should be happy that they were able to come in there and provide that to the school districts. Metals I mean, we saw those 4 new school buses. They already have them there. 4 new electric school buses that were already in their yard, and that's why we're also really confident that at least metals will be completed hopefully before the end of the year or so, because I mean they're going to need
before the end of the year they'll be able to have their infrastructure in. Currently, right now, they are working with neighboring school sites that do have their EV infrastructure in already right now. So it's great to see that the schools are working together as a community, and it's really nice to see that we can all help each other out here some way or another.
So going to that last balance remaining, you could see what has been out of those 25 million or so, 24 million have been allocated. So that last number right there at the bottom right corner, the 1.1 million, that's those are the funds that have not been allocated to projects. Seeing that the Heber town site improvements is under budget, I would be pretty confident to add probably about 1.5 million to that 1.1. So that would be the remaining funds that would have to be allocated for the south end. And like I said, I'm open to any questions at this time.
Thank you so much, Isra, for your presentation. Happy to open it up to the CSC members for any questions. Also, feel free to share any questions in the chat or use the raise hand feature. And you may also unmute if you have a question or any reflections to share back with their district.
I take this as a good gesture to the Air District to for the hard work and a good presentation. I think we can go ahead and probably move forward. Or
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you, Israel. And I do see some acknowledgements in the chat for you all as well. So Daniela says thanks for the information. Just want to check in with some of the folks from the community who are joining us tonight and see if they had any questions or comments they wanted to share. Okay, no raised hands. So we'll check real quickly to YouTube and see if there are any questions coming through there.
No questions coming in through YouTube.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Israel, Adriana, and Abby for your presentation today. Really appreciate it. And we can continue forward. Thank you, everybody. So following that presentation, we'll be moving on to our next agenda item, which are agency updates. And so I see we also have some folks from CARB joining us tonight, but we'll go ahead and start with the Air District and see if there are any updates that you'd like to share.
well, I know that I'm sorry, Maddie, but our next item was the discussion informational items. I know we've been
Oops,
trying to do it, but I don't know if I mean, obviously this is the time where if there's any additional concerns from the CSC members that I mean they could go ahead and raise those concerns. I mean, kind of like an open discussion and.
Yes, you're so right, Israel. Thank you for catching that. Yes, so we weren't quite there for agency updates. We are going to open it up for our open discussion period. And so this period is really a space for you all as CSC members to bring forth whatever you're seeing in your community, any concerns you'd like to bring forth, or anything, any reflections or even connections that you'd like to share. So CSC, the floor is yours. Okay. So I'm not seeing any hands raised or any mics unmuted. So just wanted to see, I think we're in a good spot to move forward unless I missed anything. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share that I missed? Yes, Daniela.
I always like to interrupt silence. So I'm curious if there's some opportunities in the future for collaboration with the North and AB 617 CSC. I think a lot of the members here have a lot of experience just working through the process. It's sometimes not that straightforward. But maybe even just for strategic planning around the initiatives, or even just an opportunity for the projects, or different things that we've done in this CSC, for an opportunity to exchange information, or even just collaboration of some sort. I have been trying to follow the North End process, but I think it's been a little bit more challenging too. But there might be opportunities for collaboration. I will, I guess, let you guys know if I think of anything down the line. But I do see them as they're it's kind of really great that we have a lot more coverage. I know we still probably have some ways to go in terms of additional communities that need air monitoring, but I think the collaborative piece could show up naturally as those intersection kind of areas start to come out. Because I'm not entirely sure. I know you guys selected the boundaries, or I think you're in the process of finalizing it, but I think it might be good for both CSCs to be a little bit more informed and aware of what each other's doing and see if there's ever areas for collaboration.
I'm glad Daniel, I'm glad you raised that point. I know I know I was going to share this in the agency updates, but we will be having our October meeting for the North End. It's going to be kind of like a meeting / workshop where we are inviting. I'm sure you remember that in the South End we did towards the beginning of the process we did a meeting / workshop where we had different CARB departments or divisions kind of come in and have their kind of setup, and we had the emissions inventory personnel from CARB, the AQView personnel enforcement, and we also had HCD staff with different booths having to do with monitoring, our regulatory monitoring, our enforcement division. And one thing that we were thinking of doing during this workshop is having an actual table for the South End CSC. I mean, I think it's the perfect time to ask for volunteers. See if any of our CSC members would like to join us and kind of man that table. Obviously, it wouldn't be just to man the table, but also to have that camaraderie kind of get started for those of you that are not as familiar to the North End. I know some of you are really familiar with that, but definitely, I mean, I think while we're thinking about how we're going to be presenting the South End, we'll keep CSC members in mind, and we'll send out an email to the CSC members, and hopefully we'll have volunteers, and that we could have share your expertise. And once again, this is it'll be for the October 21st meeting for the North End. It'll be at the Calipatria High School Library, and it's same time, it's 5:30 to 7:30.
Count me in. I'm available.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much. I know I've told you before. I mean, we do like that experience and your experience. So we'll surely count you in.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Curious to hear if there's anything else coming up for the CSC members in our open discussion period. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing anything else coming up for folks, and so I'm happy to move us along. It sounds like we already kind of overlapped into some agency updates a bit. So just gonna check in with you all at the Air District. Anything else that you'd like to share as an update?
I do want to give it kind of like an additional update. I know, Maddie, I mean, you know that in the past few months, we have been working with CCV to have like a final camp survey presentation come about to the CSC. It looks like CCV will be ready to do that presentation in the month of October. The presentation will summarize monitoring data for the past year, and it will fulfill CCV's current monitoring contract. I think at this point, the committee needs to start thinking about how they would like to move forward concerning the monitoring the South End. So I mean, that's just something that I kind of wanted to bring forward, so that when we do have that presentation next month from CCV, I mean, it's those are the questions that we're gonna have to ask ourselves.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Israel, for giving the CSC the heads up and the orientation for what's to come in October.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. And I also wanted to check in with the folks from CARB, if there was any updates you'd like to share.
Hi everyone, Cynthia Ortiz here. Yeah, so I just wanted to give a quick update. The Community Air Protection Community Air Protection Program, Community Air Grant, is currently open for requests for applications. The Cycle 5 was released on September 3rd, and they will be taking applications until 11:59 on Friday, November 1st of 2024. I'll go ahead and put a link in the chat that you guys can access to get more information on that grant program. That's all. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Cynthia. And then yes, the link will be shared in the chat so you can access that information as well. Awesome. Well, with that, I'd like to transition us now. Again, there's some overlap in some of our discussion topics for today, but that's okay. But there's space for anything else that's coming up for folks, but agenda topics. So CSC members, if there's anything that you feel that you'd like to bring forth to upcoming CSC meetings, we will really welcome you all to share that information now. If there's something that you'd like the Air District to address in the upcoming meeting, this space is open for that. So what is coming up for you all?
Maddie, I guess I'll jump in here. I already said that, and we're, at least for the October meeting, we're thinking that we're gonna have that presentation from CCV. So that's we kind of got a little preview of it. So it is a pretty there is a lot of information there. So we kind of do want to just at least we were thinking that for the next meeting there would just be that presentation, kind of making sure that we give them their time. The next CSC meeting is on October 9th, 2024, and it's via Zoom.
Yes, thank you so much, Israel. Yes, that's exactly what's coming up for October. And I know there was some other discussion earlier about some items to bring back. So I know we kind of touched on some potential agenda items earlier as well. But just wanted to see if there's anything else you'd like to add before we transition.
I know the discussion as far as like extending that survey. I think we'll go ahead and talk to both Maddie and Jared as far as like opening up the survey again so that we could send it to the schools. And I mean, I feel that going that extra step should get us some more numbers in there. So hopefully that'll help. Hopefully that'll work, and we'll just give a status kind of like on the next meeting. Okay.
Thank you, Israel. So definitely hearing for October for folks to be prepared for a SERP survey status update and then the camp update as well. Okay. So just moving on to our final agenda item, which is our closing remarks. So just wanted to open it back up to the CSC members and ask if you have any closing remarks to share. Yes, I see you, Mary. Go for it.
Just to end our meeting with a reminder of the suggestion that John stated to make a letter be delivered, sent to Jefferson School involving the Air District alongside with our AB 617, and so we can get a notice out to them, so we can follow up for next month. Thank you.
Okay, Mary. Yeah, no, I think we'll go ahead and visit the site. After that, I think we would probably be able to draft up a letter so that send it to the CSC members for their comments.
Yes, you can be there about 1:30, 1:45, and they'll all start lining up before even school gets out. So there's, I don't know, most close to an hour, I guess, of them just idling for hour. I mean, at least for an hour that I know of. So you'll be surprised to see, and I hope you can take pictures or film it as to what I'm talking about.
Yeah, as far as taking pictures and filming, I know it's and there's children, so it's a little bit harder to do something like that. But we'll go out there and take a look at it. I know it's I mean, having children myself, I mean, well, in the past, now I guess they're not children no more, but as parents, I mean, we kind of I want them to come into that cool car. So, but we'll go out there and take a look at it. Okay. Thank you, Mary.
Yes, thank you, everybody. It sounds like there will be follow-up at Jefferson, and it sounds like around 1:30 might be a good time to go and see what Mary has been expressing to us tonight. And so sounds like some action will be happening there. So thank you so much. And I'd also like to welcome back at this time the Air District, if you have any closing remarks.
As far as closing remarks, I mean, I think it was a very good meeting. I think there was a lot of, I mean, sharing back and forth, and I mean, there's a lot of times where we as the district also kind of remained a little quiet, but it's because we're looking for that interaction between the CSC members. Obviously, that's very important to us. Once again, I thank you. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to join us in this meeting. I know it's we all have our lives, and it's family life is very important. But thank you very much, and we hope to see you in the next October meeting.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
And thank you for your closing remarks, Israel. And just to close out, I know we have a formality that we follow in our meetings. And so if you can just hang on just a little bit longer, but we are looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Daniela. Is there a second?
Second,
Thank
Mary
you,
Salazar.
Thank you, Mary. Any discussion? No discussion, we can call for a vote. All right.
Yes.
So we'll go ahead and do our yay and nay procedure. Perhaps we can condense it a little bit. Anybody opposed to adjourning the meeting, please say nay. All right, well, it looks like it's unanimous. Thank you, everybody. The meeting is adjourned for tonight. Again, thank you, everyone, for joining, and we wish you all the best until our next meeting. And as your facilitators, if anything comes up, we have left our contact information. Feel free to reach out to us. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good
Good night,
night.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.